just like that, it's a nice early Thursday night party time with the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson, and that man beside me, the man with the angelic voice, Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, how you doing tonight, sir? Uh-oh, hold on, Papa Smokes, hold on. Let's do that again. Papa Smokes, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing awesome, Munson. And how are all my wrestling people doing out there?
Hopefully everybody's ready to kick some ass with the Video Bros here tonight. We decided to go on a little bit early because, hey, MLW Fusion seems to be a distant memory. We'll revamp. We'll get there. Maybe Underground will be available in Canada soon. They just announced that they're going to be available in the UK starting in March. So fingers crossed, we'll get back to some MLW reviews. But in the meantime and in between time, we can't leave you high and dry. Thursday nights are time to hang out with the Video Bros. And tonight we're going to make it all about Prairie Pro Wrestling. We're going to have some fun watch along. We're going to talk about Love is Dead coming up as well, too. We got a lot of things to go through with you guys. And speaking of PPW, the heart and soul of PPW right there, Auntie Woogie. How you doing? Can't wait to see you Saturday. Very excited for the show. Going to be a great time. Man, Papa Smokes, I know we're both excited. I know you got some things on your mind, too. Something you wanted to say here. Going to give you the floor.
Yeah. I want to start a new segment on the show, Munson. Maybe just an occasional segment. It's not going to be an every week thing.
All right.
Something I wanted to call Show and Tell with Papa Smokes. So I got the first item right here that I'd like to show. This is straight from Louisville, Kentucky, from the Castle of Cornet. Me and the buddies at work listen to the podcast quite frequently, so we ordered limited bloody variant edition Jim Cornette action figure autographed by the man with tennis racket and glasses. That's a bunch of outlaw mud show bullshit. And that is Jim Cornette's action figure.
Oh man, I'm sure we've crossed off half our audience right there, but that's okay because you know what? I love that segment, Papa Smokes. Bring that back as much as you want. This is fantastic. And yes, Auntie Woogie also looking forward to Saturday night. And you know what? We got America's biggest PPW fan in the house, B. Carter. How you doing? Thanks for joining us tonight. Papa Smokes, PPW. We're going to have some fun here tonight. We got a big show in store for everybody this coming Saturday night. It's going to be in a live capacity. That big main event matchup. And I believe I got the right poster here. Hopefully, we got it right there. Love is Dead coming up this Saturday night and in the main event of the evening. We're going to be seeing tag team action. It's going to be El Asesino teaming up with the longest reigning and only PPW champion in the history of the company, Sheik Akbar Shabazz, as they're taking on what I'm dubbing the Kelly Bros, Cannonball Kelly, Colton Kelly. And then we also got cruiserweight action as Son of Irish scheduled to take on Tony Novak, expected on the card as well. Phil Deadly, Michael Richard Blaze, the Rhinestone Cowboy, Stephen Crow, Barack Karani, and the educator himself, Mr. Bucky McGraw. Man, what a card we got in store for this Saturday night.
Already looking good. Only 2 more sleeps till the old PPW card. You know me, Bunsen. I never miss one. I'm looking forward to it. The Video Bros will be in full effect at ringside, with the video cameras pointed at the ring, crouching around, trying to stay out of the wrestler's way and still get those memorable and lifetime shots of the wrestlers. You know how Munson, you know how it is. We're always trying to get the shot, getting that emotion on the face, the agony, the ecstasy of pro wrestling. I've come to enjoy the camera work, Munson. I got to say, it's a challenge I never thought I'd do before, and I got to say I enjoy it with my Video Bro, Money Munson.
Yeah, you bet. Papa Smokes, man. I've been editing some of the more recent stuff as of late, and damn, there is some great shots that you got in there. Sometimes where I've got your shots in for really long segments of time, too, because you just happen to capture the perfect moments, capture the emotion on the wrestlers' faces as well, too. Man, I got some making up to do after this weekend, or after Saturday anyway. It's a good thing it's a long weekend because, you know, I go to a show called Love is Dead on Saturday, and it just so happens that it is my anniversary the very next day to the lovely Mrs. Munson. So I definitely am going to have to put on my husband mask all day on Sunday to make up for being out at the PPW show, because again, just like you, we don't miss this for the world.
Well, Munson, then you better come out for some drinks afterwards. So your anniversary isn't until the next day. She won't mind if you sleep in till 1 or 2 in the afternoon. It should be okay.
We'll talk to the boss and we'll see what she says here, Papa Smokes. But when you talk about B. Carter being America's biggest PPW fan, I think we've got Canada's or Saskatchewan's or all of the upper north area biggest fan right there. Basser 69. PP Dub, PP Dub, PP Dub. You got it, my man. Can't wait for that show. It is going to be off the hook. I know that you've been gearing the vocals up, getting all ready. We got the whole crew coming out. So Basser's got the regular boys coming out. Jeff Braden joining us there at the show. Of course, we got a newcomer from where I work. Jay's going to be joining us that night too. He's going to be a blast. And a guy we used to work with, Ethan, coming out. We like to call him the Ether Bunny. He is a trained MMA fitness instructor guy that we need to convince to start training as a PPW wrestler. And if you want to be a PPW wrestler, hey, here's a great plug for you. The Prairie Pro Wrestling Academy exists in Saskatoon. Great training facility, great trainers as well, the best around. You can learn to be an absolute great professional wrestler by training at the Prairie Pro Wrestling Academy. Reach out to Prairie Pro Wrestling Academy on Facebook in order to find out when you can get involved with a training camp. But Papa Smokes, unless you got anything else on your mind right now, I was wondering, maybe we should give the good folks a PPW match to watch.
Let's do that, Munson. I'm all in the mood to watch PPW.
I think it's a fantastic idea. In fact, I'm thinking we're going to go straight to the one that we announced. We might watch another one after. We'll see how the night goes. But we're going to go straight to this one right here. It is what was known as the Texas Battle Royal that took place. This one took place, I believe, in, I'm going to say July of 2022. This one was to decide who would be the next number one contender for the Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship. And yeah, there was a lot to be said about this one, but let's just find out exactly what's to be said about it by going straight to the action.
Hit the tape, Bunsen.
As the button says right there, feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so on YouTube already. I know this is being broadcast live on the Video Bros Network YouTube channel. Give us a subscribe there. Also, head on over to our local establishment on YouTube and give us a like, follow, subscribe over there. If you're watching along on Twitch, whether it be our local establishment or Video Bro Bobby Munson, thank you for joining, and give us a follow. Appreciate all the help. And there we go. We got, again, this was a change up. We normally have our good friend JG Muller on the mic there, but he was unable to make these shows, Papa Smokes. And as a result, we had that gentleman right there. That is Quicksilver, a former pro wrestler himself, but did a fantastic job filling in for JG.
No, for sure. He's perfectly comfortable up there. He sometimes does the sound and pre-match music and stuff. He's multi-talented, that Quicksilver.
He's got a lot of great talents. It was great to see him take it up the spot. He did that a couple times there for us. But, it's always great to see our good friend JG back on the stick. He's a fantastic guy. We've known him for quite a few years. And here we go. Here come all the wrestlers all at once. Everybody taking place in that. We got Joey Vendetta, El Assassino, Bharat Garani, all night, Levi Knight right in behind him. I'm seeing, we got Tommy Gallivan, the Bridge City Wrestler, Miss Uncle Phil Deadly, and Cutthroat Colton Kelly, and there's the big man himself, Cannonball Kelly. And there we go, Michael L. and Richard Clark. Michael Allen just had a great run for himself down in the States, along with Levi Knight as well, too, working at the Nightmare Academy, Cody Rhodes' facility down there. Both of them doing very good. And as this thing gets heated right away, El Assassino, Michael Allen, Richard Clark, these two absolutely hate the living piss out of each other.
Yeah, we just recently watched the match that they had that quickly dissolved into a shoot fight of sorts. They were unable to get anything going on each other due to just rage punching and smashing each other. that match being earlier in this card, and now as you can see, the feelings haven't dulled whatsoever, and you can see that these two are going to be after each other all Battle Royal as well.
You bet. And B. Carter saying Cannonball is total throwback. Yeah, and I see where you're coming from too, especially like you could imagine Cannonball Kelly fitting right in perfectly back in the days of ECW, stuff like that. I think he would have done fantastic in a promotion like that. But you know, we're happy to have him because he's got a lot of experience that he's had along the way and everything. And love watching that right there. That spot Levi Knight getting pulled in the match against his will. Very warm welcome from Cannonball Kelly inside there as they go into the quarter here. It looks like Cannonball might. We have yet to see an elimination here in this match, but when they come hot and heavy for sure.
And you know, there's big stakes in this match too, Munson. The winner of this battle royal goes straight to a title shot against the longest heavyweight champion, Sheik Akbar Shabazz.
You bet. And actually, you know what? The winner of this particular battle royal and Sheik Akbar Shabazz is one that I just wrapped up with the editing on. And what a fantastic match. Like, yeah, I mean, an all-out war. You guys wait. It's going to be coming up in a few weeks, that match on our YouTube channel for Prairie Pro Wrestling. And it is off the freaking hook. It is a good thing they had both of us down there to take the shots in that one, because that shit went all over the place, Papa Smokes.
Absolutely. There's Michael Allen Clark's big moves, the slingshot suplex from the outside. That one always draws a crowd.
Yeah, the people love Michael Allen Richard Clark, and again, somebody that works for my company as well too. Recently started watching Prairie Pro Wrestling, and he said he's become a very big Michael Allen Richard Clark fan. As Tommy Gallivan, the first one eliminated by El Asesino. Barack Arani has been a very outstanding, newcomer, new face here in Prairie Pro Wrestling. Same with Cutthroat Colton Kelly. I mean, they made an instant impact on the PPW Nation.
Yeah, most definitely, and that's the fun thing about these local shows here is that the fans, they love their favorites. They always want to see their favorites, and they want to see the same guys. But as the promoters, we have to switch it up a little bit sometimes too, give them some new blood. That's also fun, even though they're not sure if they're going to like it. You get these personalities like Bharat Gorani and Cutthroat Colton Kelly. And as you've seen, they've both gotten over tremendously. Kelly is beloved by the fans and Gorani feared and despised by the fans, but both getting a huge reaction here in Saskatoon.
They sure were. And you know, again, somebody who is not in this particular matchup, but has been in PPW a lot more as of late, is going to be joining you and I in a live capacity next week. We're talking about Sean Moore. Sean Moore, if you do not know his work, check it out. Fantastic, phenomenal wrestler that has traveled the world, just lit up audiences everywhere he goes. And he's going to be joining the Video Bros next week. B. Carter wants to know, why no women in this match? I think PPW having women and men wrestle each other is absolutely brilliant. You know what, B. Carter? If there were women wrestlers that were in Saskatchewan, it would be a lot easier to have women's matchups in Saskatchewan. The problem is that we do have to get a lot of travel, and the availability of some of the women's wrestlers, especially with there not being that very many of them out there right now, makes it quite difficult for us to obtain women's wrestlers. We have had Zoe Sager quite a number of times here on the PPW roster. And again, I believe, as always, the door is always open to Zoe Sager, who is beloved by the PPW Nation.
Kat Von Hees has been a big star in Saskatoon for the previous company we worked for as well. People like it. They want to see it. But like Munson was saying, it's difficult to get talent around here. They have to come from a long ways away. And a lot of them are doing better on at promotions that are a little bigger in bigger cities such as Vancouver and Edmonton and Calgary, Winnipeg and all that. And it's just tough getting lady wrestlers out here, but we'll get working on it.
And Sager, she beat all night. she did. That match did not last all night. Zoe put that one to rest as quick as possible. But yeah, I mean, she's done extremely well for herself here in Prairie Pro Wrestling since making her debut back in the Food Truck War times. But yeah, just unfortunately due to, availability and stuff like that, we haven't seen her for a little while. And again, would love to see her back. I know the PPW Nation would too. As we make it down to the final three here, and a little bit of an alliance going on between Michael Allen, Richard Clark, and Cannonball Kelly. Funny story, that on Ring Respect Radio, when we interviewed Cannonball Kelly, he was saying that he would have a really great time being able to be in a tag team with Michael Allen, Richard Clark. And because Mark's name on Twitter and everything like that is Team Flex, they were looking for a team name. Cannonballs, what could we call that team name? And that's what I came up with. Ball Appeal. I mean, it just made perfect sense, I thought.
Yeah, you're Flex Ball, I guess. That's not too bad either. But
that one works also. But as you saw just there, we were down to the final three. Michael L. Richard Clark getting pulled out by El Assassino, who had previously been eliminated. And we are now down to the final two. It's Joey Vendetta and Cannonball Kelly lighting it up here to decide who is going to be the new number one contender for the Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship. And as long as the internet kicks in, we'll be back on track.
And don't forget, in these parts, these two are very well-known veterans. I mean, the amount of matches between these two guys in this province alone would just be quite spectacular. So they've crossed paths a number of times. You can see they don't like each other, but remember what they're competing for. They're looking for a shot at the championship of PPWs. Again, those stakes are high. We're going to see some hard hitting here.
B. Carter wondering who the Vinnie Mac of PPW is. There is no Vinnie Mac in PPW. PPW is a collaboration of sorts. It is a large, well-known group of what we would call family that work together in conjunction to pull this off. There is no Vinnie Mac at all because there doesn't need to be one.
The chairman of the board, Munson.
That's right. Now I am thinking that maybe if I were to actually think about closing down a couple of my windows that I have open right now, maybe the internet wouldn't keep slowing down like this. Preparation months, and that's what it's all about. There we go. Maybe we'll have some luck now. And I mean, I guess, in sense, if you're talking about a Vinnie Mac in terms of like a matchmaker and stuff like that, that too is done by a team of people. On screen, you'll see a couple of members of PPW management that tend to come out down to do the matchmaking. We do have what the fuck is Crash's title again? I mean, no offense to Crash, but I can't remember that title to save my life.
Yeah, it's too long. No one can remember it.
Director, conductor, composer of talent relations and independence and freaking nonsense. I don't know. Anyway, long fucking title. Great dude, long title. But yes, a lot of the time he is out there to do some of the matchmaking on screen, like at the audience and stuff like that as well too. Seasoned pro himself, former owner of POW here in Saskatchewan. So he's been around quite a long time, and we're lucky to have him on board. Oh, there it is. Cannonball takes him out. That shit's over. We have a winner. Who'd have thunk it?
With his
Cannonball,
signature
look at
move.
that.
I love these guys. The whole soccer team was there that night.
Yeah, those boys were a riot. Yeah, boom is right. Boom. The Thursday night boom here on Ring Respect Radio. But yeah, those soccer boys were absolutely fantastic. Love those kids.
They had the time of their life. They were over on my side of the ring where I film. I was just loving their energy. They were just having a ball.
Yeah. Well, I remember right before things kicked off and stuff too, they called me over. When's this all starting? I said, well, listen, boys. I said, if you want the show to start, you got to let them know how anxious you are. So you got to be the loudest, craziest group of guys in this entire building. And next thing you know, this soccer team just erupts and they're fight.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, boom, that music hits and it's time to start the show.
Yeah, what a good time.
Oh, it was fantastic. We always see lots of great new faces out there. I saw a Papa Smoke shirt in the crowd. I'm pretty sure that's our good friend Basser wearing the Papa Smoke shirt there.
Definitely.
Those are fantastic shirts, by the way. I love that.
It turned out well.
They sure did. But that was it. Again, I'm going to mention Johnny Two Fingers and the Deformities. That's the band that these two gentlemen right there take part in. They're actually playing the Kinsman Telemiracle here in Saskatchewan coming up. So a big shout out to them and their group for being included with Telemiracle broadcast.
Yeah, Johnny does the guitar playing and the singing, and Cannonball does the drumming.
Oh, Johnny that guy rocks. And he's just a bundle of fun. What a great dude.
It looks like the fun's about to end in the ring here.
Yeah, that's right. It's the anti-fun of PPW. It's Sheik Akbar Shabazz.
But since he's won the championship and been the first champion of PPW, he walks with an extra swagger now. He comes out to the ring whenever he feels like it. He grabs a live mic, starts talking shit to the audience anytime he damn well feels like it. And I suppose that's completely his place, right? He's got that gold belt around his waist.
That's right. You know what? He's the champ. He's going to do what he wants. And what are you going to do about it? But yeah, it's that's what he'll do about it.
I rest my case. He doesn't care about anybody.
Takes Cannonball right to Dick Kick City on that one. And then hits him with the belt on top of it. Shabazz has got a bad attitude, but you know what? He's a great champion at the same time.
Well, the fans, I think they like his arrogance in a way, but he's awfully hated around these matches too. And I think the fans are kind of in a state of frustration. They want to see him beaten for that belt. They want one of their favorites to take that belt and be a popular champion. But damn, the Sheik ain't letting that happen. And I told you back in the fall months, and it was going to be a long, cold winter with the Sheik as champion. And damn, has it ever.
It really has been. Yeah. But he's doing a great job, Papa Smokes. He's holding that belt. He's defending that belt. He's walking around with that stride, and he's taking that belt everywhere he goes, showing it off, letting people know. People are talking about PPW again. We went to one of the recent shows, and people started going on about how they were out in Alberta. They started hearing all about Prairie Pro Wrestling out in Alberta because, of course, we got a lot of great talent that comes out of there that are on the PPW roster, but also because they watch the show. They tune in on Saturdays to check out Prairie Pro Wrestling on YouTube. And that's a great feeling because that's all we've ever wanted to do. I mean, checking the algorithms too, I did notice that, again, we've got great viewership out in the UK. So hello to the UK fans, and also India. We've reached out to India quite well. We do quite well in the India market. So again, PPW is worldwide, baby. We're not restricting ourselves like MLW is at the moment.
Well, yeah, fantastic. And the TV deal we got on YouTube is universal as well. All you need is a Wi-Fi signal and a device, and you can watch PPW anytime, any place for as long as you want.
And Andy, would you say this is so great? I'm so short I don't get to see the matches anymore from the bar. But you got a nice close-up of some part of the match when Sheik and Cannonball fight for the belt. I just got the edit done on that one last night. And when Cannonball jumps up into the concession stand to grab the beer, it is absolutely electric. I can't wait for uploading that one. We'll be calling those matches soon, Papa Smokes. I got another few in the bag ready for us. So we're going to have a lot of great stuff coming up on the PPW YouTube channel. But yeah, anybody who's paying attention in the chat there, we're going to stay with you for some time. What else do you guys want to watch? Will we go a little bit older on the PPW side, or do we want to go really way back into our library, Papa Smokes? Do we want to look back on something, say, from when we were back in the HIW times?
Oh my, Munson, you're getting wild now. Yeah. What did you have in mind? There's all kinds of good stuff. How about something from one of the battle arts, like the Battle Arts 4 at the Curling Center there? That might be good.
Yeah, we could do that. Now, I know we're saying this is a PPW episode, but again, we are PPW, like myself and Bob Stokes are here, Prairie Pro Wrestling. A lot of the talent that was over in High Impact are also, Prairie Pro Wrestling net talent as well, too. So again, we like to share. So, Beer Thief. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Yeah. I think he says it was for the matchup, but I'm pretty sure that he had just intent to chug a beer afterwards. certain of that. But yeah, just gearing this up here, Pop Smoke, see what I can find on the old channel here and see what I can remember that we had from back in this day here too. So we're gonna dig deep. You wanted to go to, I think we only filmed the one Battle Arts special during our time there. So I don't know. Do we want to go back to the big match?
There was a few good matches on that card, so I don't know. Whatever you're feeling.
I'm just wondering if anybody wants to watch a Cody Rhodes matchup. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, we could do that.
All right. Well, I will gear up Cody Rhodes versus Michael Allen Richard Clark if I can figure out which episode it was. So that was the thing, is it was actually episodes. We also have Assassino versus Jeff Tyler. That was probably my favorite match from that entire
mine
weekend.
Too. That's the one I was thinking of when I suggested that card. But anything,
maybe
we'll end up watching them all anyway.
We sure will. Yeah, there's also that big 6-person slugfest for the contract on a pole or whatever it was matchup that we had that night too.
And there was a really exceptionally good tag match on that too. The Young Lions or the
Western Lions.
The Western Lions versus Kid Chocolate and Phil Deadly. That was a real good match as well.
That was, and by the name of Death by Chocolate at the time, I believe.
Yeah,
was the way it went. So, yeah. I don't even know what we ended up calling this episode of the show. I'm looking at this thing like Battle Arts special episode 1, 2. I think there's a 3. Yep. I don't know which one Cody Rhodes was on, to be honest with you, Pops.
Oh, yeah. No worries, but we should watch those at some point since we brought it up.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to. I will find it here for sure. Oh, you know what? Did I just find it? Maybe I did. Just need to scroll far enough in, you'll find what you're looking for. So, but I mean, to give a little backstory to that particular matchup before we get to it, and again, I will apologize in advance. I didn't have Papa Spokes at my side doing the video work with me at the time. The dark lit arena was not exactly very helpful on this one, but all in all, we made do with what we had. So yeah, what can you say? A little backstory.
It was a different time.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get through this anyway. But here's the backstory though. So, and Melba Collins joining us. How you doing? But yeah, a little backstory to this particular matchup is that HIW were bringing Cody Rhodes into town for a match here in Saskatoon. We had a battle royal. This was around the time that Cody had left the WWE before AEW started. They had just announced the very first All In. I believe it was called All In, right? The All In or All Out?
Something like that. The one where he fought Nick Aldis, I think. Eh?
That's right. So yeah, so that was around that particular time that he came out here. What a fantastic dude he was. It was great to get to be able to meet him. Not only meet him, but to actually get to call one of his matchups. I think was kind of the really cool part about it, Papa Spokes. I mean, something that you and I probably never thought we would do is call a match for somebody with that kind of family legacy. So it was a great experience for us. And a great matchup as well, too. Michael Allen Richard Clark, one of the best in Canadian professional wrestling right now. And again, had just had that stint down in the States at the Nightmare Factory working with Cody Rhodes. So again, this kind of comes full circle in that sense. So I'm going to hit play. We're going to go through this one. And yeah, let's have some fun. All right. So yeah, I mean, we were not that we're not still green as fuck, but we were really green as fuck when it came to commentary on this one.
Oh yeah. We had done maybe a couple of shows before this, but I know I was real nervous to call this match because nobody else was going to be calling it. This was for us to do, so I was determined to do a good job. I had 6 pages of written notes before this, just to try and be completely prepped to try and do the best job I could.
Yeah. Oh, and look at this. I mean, the people in Saskatoon, and there was a lot of them at this show. This show had in excess of 600 people at it, but they all had that sign wrapping around saying Michael Allen, Richard Clark. That took some collaboration. That is some dedicated fans right there.
Richard Clark right the way around ringside.
How long ago was this? That is a damn good question. I'm going to say
it was the year, like 1 year before AEW started as a company, I think. So
yeah, so probably 5 years then, I think, because I think AEW was about 4 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because King Cash had booked Cody also almost a year before this show, and in that intervening year from when he got booked to do this to when the show actually happened, his stock rose dramatically in the wrestling world because everyone was abuzz about the big new company that was going to start. Cody was part of Bullet Club and Young Bucks Buddy and all that stuff, and it just worked out beautifully that he was coming, of all places, here at this time. And oh yeah.
And if you see the video screens in behind, those were videos that I got to create for this particular weekend. These were videos that played. There was one for every single wrestler, but I mean, as cool as all the videos were, it was such an honor to be able to do one for Cody Rhodes, especially looking back now that the music used in that video is still the same music he uses in WWE that he used in AEW because he owns the rights to that song.
Very cool.
I mean, this is the very guy that people are saying is going to walk away the new champion come WrestleMania season. That, I mean, here he was right in our own backyard, Pop Smoke. And what a class act, too. Just a nice, genuine guy, very humble, very great to work with. I mean, it was awesome. And really the first experience I had being around somebody that had traveled other than, I mean, it been there with Short Sleeve Samson had come into town a little while before. That was kind of when I was getting my feet wet and everything. And then Cody Rhodes. And of course, after that, we got the opportunity to be there with Jeff Cobb when he defended the ROH television title against El Assassino live in Saskatoon.
For sure. And towards the end of HIW's run, they also had Jay Lethal here for a show, but by that time the horse had kind of left the barn. There wasn't too many people going to the shows. We'll get into all that, but this is the good times right here, and it was so nice to hold a big show in this larger venue and really see who the wrestling fans in Saskatoon are, who's going to come out. We had people driving for 6 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours to come to this show to see Cody Rhodes. There were fans dressed up like him, dressed up like the Young Bucks, everything, Bullet Club t-shirts everywhere. It was really a huge thing. And to see Michael Allen, Richard Clark, our local popular babyface star, come into the ring and get a chance to work with Cody, it was magical.
It's so different going back and watching these now, Papa Smokes, and even just like hearing ourselves in the background and how we were at this time compared to now. You could still tell that it was still that, like, we didn't know each other that much at this point. We had just started working together, coming over, setting down that old laptop that I had and that really shitty headset that I had with the really bad microphone that we sat down right in the center of the room and started doing commentary on.
Yeah.
That was before we started to invest in Yeti mics and all this kind of stuff to increase the audio of what we were doing. But we were very ill prepared at this time to be doing this.
That's right. I forgot about that. For a while, the mic was just the headset with the attached mic just set down on my table here in Studio Smokes. Those were fun times, man.
They really, really were. But you know what? It's led to a lot of great things. I mean, who would have thought at the time that not only would we still be doing this, we'd be a big part of doing this for Prairie Pro Wrestling, but the amount of interviews we've had the opportunity to do, the great people we've met along the way, the friends we've made as well, too. It's been fantastic. Like, one of the big things I look forward to is going to live wrestling, not because I'm looking forward to watching the matches, because I sure don't really get the opportunity to do that as I'm trying to figure out what shot to take next. I just like the atmosphere. I like being around the people. I like seeing the PPW Nation. I like beacon the PPW Nation if I need to a little bit too. It's a lot of fun. They know how to take a joke and they know how to give it back too.
Absolutely. And the PPW fans know what's up. We get lots of the same fans. We have lots of diehards that come to every single show. Also some randoms as well, but they all know who we are. They know what we work behind the scenes. They know who all the wrestlers are and stuff. It's intimate in that small venue. We like it that way so that everyone's jammed in together. We all get to talk and get a good close look at each other and everything. And yeah, that's the fun part of it. We got a little community going here, some friends, some family, everybody else coming out. And it's just a great feeling on those Saturday nights when we can all get together and do what we like to do together.
So I believe at this point the fans are chanting because Cody Rhodes had mentioned about All In and was saying that he wanted to call himself All In Cody Rhodes so that he could have 4 names, just like Michael Allen Richard Clark does. Michael Allen Richard Clark, man, what a long way he's come as well too. Again, like I said, with that recent training that he's had, the great strides that he was making here at Prairie Pro Wrestling, he's doing some work now over at Love Wrestling, really tearing up the scene there in Alberta. I mean, this guy's well on his way to something bigger for sure.
Absolutely. And you only have to go to a PPW show that he appears on. They chant his name the whole time. The fans want him all the time. He hasn't. The comment of the night right there.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stories that could get started about the Saskatchewan scene and that hairstyle.
Don't get me started. And it was sillier before that, trust me. But that's really funny.
Yeah, he's definitely changed that hair look over the years for sure.
He was pretty much forced to at one point, yeah.
Oh, Mel, I'm glad you brought that up. That's always good for a laugh. Oh yeah, this is where they started chatting Michael All In Cody Rhodes. Like, Saskatoon fans are just, I mean, they will roll with anything and everything until something sticks, and a lot of it sticks. That's the great part. We got our man Bum on tap giving us a tab. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, man, Mel, you would love the stories that Papa Smokes could tell, but we're trying to be nice on air. We're good guys. Come on. We're gentlemen, as you put it so nicely.
Yeah.
But there you go. You got 600 people strong right there that are chanting his name, and that is very common here. I mean, he is over as hell with the fans in Saskatchewan. I'm sure, Mel, you could attest that he is just as over with the fans in the Alberta scene too. And I know that if you go and watch the Nightmare Factory show that was put out on YouTube that he's featured on, I believe he was put into the main event matchup on the card as well too. So even Cody Rhodes and the trainers at the Nightmare Factory seeing the benefit of Michael Allen Richard Clark as a top guy.
And Cody giving a kiss of the ring.
And that's one of the things about working in the wrestling business too, is that you start to realize that it looks like a giant ocean where you'd never have any contact with any big stars if you came from a small place like Edmonton or Saskatoon. But that's just not true. And the wrestling is a fraternity of the boys and girls, just like any other thing. And lots of those wrestlers know each other. It's amazing how close they all are. It's a smaller world than you think.
What do you think about this one, Papa Smokes? I think that would be a styling new look for a new modern day Papa Smokes right there.
Don't hold your breath waiting for that one.
So the best thing about here too is we got a couple of guys who are good technical wrestlers as well too, and they know how to put on a good show, and that's exactly what we got here on this night. A lot of great back and forth between these two guys, and a solid back and forth. We mentioned that our favorite match of the whole weekend ended up being Jeff Tyler versus El Assassino, but there was so much story and heart and everything put into that particular matchup. Jeff Tyler and El Assassino, both fantastic wrestlers, both seasoned professionals, both had crossed paths so many times before, and so much was on the line that night that it was one of those magical moments when it came to that matchup.
I think you might be thinking
for sure. And that was also the culmination of such a long feud and such a rivalry too. It wasn't just that the guys didn't like each other, it's that they were battling each other to be the main stars in high impact wrestling at that time. Jeff Tyler, a pure babyface, was so over with the crowd, and you know what El Assassino is, the opposite of that, the greasiest of all the heels, and they were of a similar skill set, so they traded victories back and forth. They traded the Central Canadian Championship back and forth a couple times. And then this was the final matchup. They both said, we're never going to fight each other again after this. After this, it's over. And it had such an intense feeling around that match. Oh boy.
Oh, that was classy. I liked that spot right there. Again, Michael Allen, Richard Clark, known for doing the push-ups, especially on his opponent's backs. Cody stealing a bit of his thunder right there. As you see, that banner right there, Glitch Gifts. Glitch Gifts have been a great sponsor of both HIW and then Prairie Pro Wrestling. Mike and the crew over there, fantastic people. And they call themselves the worst store in Saskatoon. But you know what? Anyone who happens to be in the Saskatoon area, go to Glitch Gifts. That place is phenomenal. It's so much fun if you just like really interesting, weird, different types of collectibles and stuff like that. Just an odd place, but fantastic people, fantastic fun store.
That's a really fun store, and I couldn't believe it the first time I went in there. If you like anything from music to movies to wrestling to TV to comics to fantasy, they've got all kinds of stuff in that store. You'll be browsing for an hour looking at all that stuff.
You know, surprisingly, Pops, folks, I'm looking at this video footage right here and thinking of that shitty little camera I was using at the time. And it's not all that bad.
It looks okay. Yeah. It looks okay.
Where it gets
just so
funny.
dark in there.
Yeah, it is really dark. And where it does get a little funny is when you see the close-ups and you see those lines across the street. What it is certain cameras that we use don't have the ability to keep up with the white balancing. So sometimes the spotlights into the ring tend to mess with the camera lens and cause that little bit of a streak across the screen.
In Winnipeg from the, Papa Smokes' old days there. It's just comparable to that, the excitement of when you knew the big wrestlers were coming to town, the famous wrestlers were coming to town. It's just a feeling of electricity.
Reminiscences with Papa Smokes. How does my voice sound even worse 5 years ago than it does now?
Oh, you've come a long way, Pop Smokes. I think you just rolled with the punches and improved your game and stuff like that. It just sounds fantastic. It's just one of those things. Improvement by practicing and doing it over and over. I mean, especially now that we're doing this stuff week in, week out kind of thing, it's you get to a comfort level and start to get better at it.
That's probably it. I was so nervous and terrified in these early days that I was probably like just shaking in my boots doing some of this.
Well, and usually we made the bad mistake, and I mean, we're not afraid to admit it. We go out for a joint. Well, we were supposed to be calling matches. We get back in there and start calling these things. There's time on HNW matches where if you hear like a 45-second pause, it's the two of us. We're just right stoned, not know what to say anymore. And all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, we better say something right now.
Yeah, not for a big card like this, but a couple of those. We did that for a long time, calling the same matches by the same guys for a long time. It got hard sometimes. We needed some amusement, and Yeah, like you say, there were some long pauses where we were both just watching the match for so long, and then like, oh shit, I'm supposed to be analyzing this right now.
Yeah, that's right. Tip-top analysts of Saskatchewan are like the Cheech and Chong of Western Canadian professional wrestling. You know what I realized this year, Papa Smokes? That Thursday night is April 20th this year.
Nice.
I'm thinking a Video Bros 420 special is on the horizon.
Talk about
that sounds like a great idea.
Independent wrestling. I know it just recently.
Here we are distracted from this phenomenal matchup that we're seeing before us.
Being made out of
They're looking like Michael Allen, Richard Clark going to go for that springboard suplex.
Nick Jackson, something that hasn't been done outside of the WWE at this point in time. So it just goes to show the rising popularity.
Yeah, this would have been, so this was exactly 1 year from when I kind of first stepped into HIW a little bit. So when I stepped in as someone who was going to write a couple of articles and stuff, they had let me in that weekend. Kind of did some discussion about filming, started to put things together, add commentary to it all for YouTube and everything like that. That came along with it. But within that first little segment of time before I even started the filming, I took a training camp. So I bumped in that exact ring that the guys are working in right now. Man, that thing hurts. It really does.
That ring was on its last legs even then. I think even for a while before that, there were a couple of times they had problems with that ring during the show. Do you remember the Battle Royal when the top rope fell off?
Yes, I do.
That made it a lot easier to get eliminated, I'll tell you that much.
Or when Slammer Sova put his opponent straight through that ring board right in the middle of the ring. They had to cut to an intermission just to fix the ring.
That was the best. You know, I miss the Slammer sometimes.
Yeah, he was an entertaining dude. He was a big muscle man or whatever, but he had a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, a weird dude, but such a simple and excellent gimmick, and it was over, too.
It really was. Yeah, he didn't need to say a whole lot other than slam, and he had the people in Saskatoon eat out of the palm of their hands.
For sure. And all he did was body slam guys again and again, pretty much. It was excellent.
And the reversal here, Cody Rhodes now in a lot of pain. Michael Allen, Richard Clark taking advantage. And there was times like this in this matchup, I believe that there was a good chance that Michael Allen, Richard Clark was going to end up getting the W in here. I mean, there's some very, very close calls.
But, you know, it's great to know the kind of heritage and history of our country in professional wrestling, what we have done for this industry.
It's always been strong here.
It's funny to listen to us too, because when we first came about doing the commentary, they had given us the notes. You guys are going to be like a heel and a baby face team. we want one of you to be the baby face, one of us to be a heel. And it was just back and forth, trying to nip at each other. Hey, I cheer for the good guys, you cheer for the bad guys, kind of thing, and taking shots throughout the entire thing. I mean, it was fun. We did what we were asked to and stuff like that, but I do prefer the way we approach it with Prairie Pro, the more sports idea kind of thing where, you know, we don't have to be nipping at each other all the time.
Yeah. Like it was fun in a way to have that going on, but I think since we've been doing just straight up commentary for PPW, I feel like it fits the product better. We don't have to be performers. We're there to try and get the boys some excitement from the crowd and from the people watching the videos. So, you know, I don't need to be a heel or a baby face. I will do the announcing along with you, Munson.
Exactly. Yeah, we have a lot of fun doing it that way. It's a great time, and it's something that it seems like a lot of people prefer anyway. We've had a lot of great compliments from people who have come across the shows. The commentary now is great on PPW. Appreciate that, B. Carter. Again, like, yeah, that was the whole approach when we started Prairie Pro. That was the kind of thing we said from the get-go. We didn't want to be babyface or heel or anything like that. We wanted to kind of like what MLW has. A lot of the time, they've got a straight-up sports commentary team with a couple of guys on there calling the matchup, stuff like that. That's the approach we wanted to go with, and it gives a lot better feel, I find, and it helps to put over the performers in the ring, and that's what it's all about. It's even what Rich Bocchini told us about. It's about telling the story. It's about giving props to and putting over the talent inside the ring. That is our job as commentary.
Both Michael Allen, Richard Clark, and Cody Rhodes.
Oh, shit, that was close.
I thought that was the finish for a second there.
Yeah.
Didn't put Clark away with that one.
I haven't watched this match in
I think so too.
a couple of years, I bet.
Yeah, it's been quite some time. I know that when we were going to do our live watch, or when we were doing that 2-hour live watch along that we did over at the Love Wrestling channel while we were over there for the charity stream, this was one of the matches we were thinking about doing. But instead of that, we ended up, because of the time limit, we ended up showing the ROH TV title match between El Asesino and Jeff Cobb that we never officially did commentary. Well, never before released commentary anyway.
We sat there with the microphone on, but it didn't get released. Yeah.
Yeah, the ring looks like it's going to collapse with big bumps. And surprisingly, it did hold up kind of sometimes, usually. But
that is an accurate statement, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch tapes and get a feel for his style.
But yeah, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Bob.
Oh, I was going to say the thing about this shitty old ring is it got to the point where the talent, oh boy,
There's that disaster kick.
There it is.
it got to the point where the talent sometimes didn't want to work on it too, because there'd be a lump in the middle and then there'd be a divot in the one corner. And you know, you can't be tripping on stuff, or can't be have a low spot there where you could twist your ankle or whatever. I know some of those guys that did the high flying spots and stuff were saying, fuck that, we don't want to work in this ring. You're asking us to run the ropes with this. And that exact evening I'm talking about was the one where the Slammer Sosa slammed the vaping Jedi guy through the ring, and then they had to spend 45 minutes at the intermission taking apart the ring and rebuilding it, and that wasn't good. That was in the sort of dying days of the promotion, and it didn't do any good for the fan base here.
That's right, yeah. And again, the PPW ring, nice thing about that, we didn't end up ordering a ring. That ring was actually built, one of the members of the PPW management, from scratch. That was all, that metal was welded together securely. It was tested. It was put through every which test you could possibly imagine and built with a lot of care. That thing is solid as F. I'm not kidding you. Well, we needed another chuckle there. It got so much worse. Yes, yeah. As he wrestles, it gets a little scarier.
It gets a little, shall we say, poodle-like.
I would think that would be the term. So Papa Smokes, speaking of Mel Ball, did you know that she got to hang out with her main crush the other day? Yes, yeah. Tom Lawler was out in Alberta, and Mel, I know you had eyes for him. You got to see him up close and personal. Those Daisy Dukes, I mean, come on.
Well, I saw Andre's picture with him, and he had the Daisy Dukes and the little short-cut jean vest on and the white-rimmed shades. He's such a beauty, Tom Lawler.
Oh, she got the up close and personal look at those.
That's awesome.
Gotta say, I would have loved to have been able to be there too. That would have been a fantastic time. Tom Lawler's a fantastic wrestler.
And fighting against Mitch Clark too, another one of our buddies.
Yeah, Mitch Clark, Prairie Pro Wrestling, is been all over the place. Man, that guy's gonna be a friggin' star. Former UFC fighter turned pro wrestler, been killing it everywhere he goes in pro wrestling, and now he's a movie star. Well, I mean, he's in movies, but he's actually in a small independent film that came out of Saskatchewan called The Druid's Hand, that has actually won all sorts of awards on the independent scenes and at the festivals. It's been picked up by many festivals, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mitch is actually filming another movie as well right now too, or just recently did, because he is all over the place. Such a nice guy. I got to talk to him about historic crossover. Yeah, I mean, awesome. It would have been such an honor to be able to get to hang out and talk with Tom Lawler, and I'm sure that matchup was probably just absolute fire. But for any reviews of the Alberta scene and reviews of Japanese wrestling, Mel Ball and Andre are the ones to check out, as Cody Rhodes picking up the victory in this matchup. What a night that was, Papa Smokes, and what a match as well, too.
Well, it's a night I'll never forget, too, because like we've just been talking about, we were newly working on commentary. You were newly working on camera work. And this was still the biggest match I've called in terms of star power kind of thing. And it was quite early on in our career. So, like I say, I was nervous to watch this match. I wanted to start getting my thoughts together for commentary because I wanted to do a good job of this match. And I think we did, but it was early in our career. And that's maybe why I haven't watched it in a long time, is because I don't like listening to some of those old matches that I commentated or we commentated. But this is one that, like I say, we worked so hard on doing a great commentary for this card. I spent hours and days and weeks thinking about all these matches beforehand. So in a way, this is something I'm proud of too, because everybody in this company worked hard to bring this show together, and you and I in post-production and all that stuff too. And yeah, it's something I'll never forget. It was a big deal then, and it still is to me.
Oh yeah, for sure. Again, it was what really kickstarted a lot of what we were doing and everything, and made us believe that we could do what we're doing as well too. I mean, we've been very fortunate, don't get me wrong. It's not like we have any formal training in what we're doing or anything like that. Just right place, right time, knew the right people, and just went with it. There was an opportunity we both saw, and we took that opportunity, and ever since we haven't looked back. And I'm not going to. I have zero intent to ever stop and doing any of this, folks. I mean, it's 6 years in, and I just, you know what, I'm going to just keep the party going as long as people are letting us through the door, and there's fans coming to shows and people tuning into these live streams. As long as you're not sick of us, you're going to be seeing us all the time.
And every kid watching wrestling or watching whatever you love as a kid, you dream that maybe you could be part of it someday if you trained, said your prayers, and ate your vitamins, whatever your little regimen is. But if you studied, like, that was one of the things that I tried to do, was look at wrestling with an analytic mind. I wanted to be entertained, excuse me, by the wackiness and the lunacy of pro wrestling, but I also wanted to understand why things were the way they were. And I mean, think of me as a teenager too. This is before the internet and all that. It was difficult to look deep in beneath the layers of wrestling. I'm reading the Apter mags, just thinking maybe I'll get some insight. No, they're part of the show too, man. Like, so it was difficult in the early days of being a fan and all that too. But, I always dreamed that maybe I could put all this knowledge and all this thought to some good and positive use someday. And here we go. Now we can sit here and talk amongst our friends in the wrestling community and have some pleasant discourse about the matches, the stuff on TV, the live matches, the local matches, and have a few laughs with all our friends and fans around the world. And man, it's like living the dream just a little bit.
B. Carter saying Papa Smoke's playing albums backwards for secret messages.
For sure.
Why not, right? Like, you got to check those things out. Of course, that's the only way you could know that Paul McCartney was actually dead.
Oh, Jesus. I'm just realizing that now.
Yeah, no, all of that time it was just a fake. Who would have thought they'd play kayfabe and put a different guy in the Beatles all that time? But with that being said, I do want to. We're going to play one more matchup here in a short minute here, Papa Smokes. And this one is going to actually feature our special guest next week. So for anybody who didn't catch it earlier, we are going to be joined in a live capacity on next week's Ring Respect Radio by the one Sean Moore. This guy is phenomenal, to say the least. Not only are we fortunate enough to be having him in a live capacity joining us here on Ring Respect Radio, we said it before when he had not yet graced a Prairie Pro Wrestling ring because he was off touring all over the world, and I mean the world, that it would be an honor to have him in Prairie Pro Wrestling. And I know he graced his presence there once, but then all of a sudden we have seen him back the last couple of shows, tearing it up in a Prairie Pro Wrestling ring, and he's going to be joining us in a live capacity, and I know that he's going to be back in Prairie Pro Wrestling. I'm not sure if Saturday. I don't know for sure, so either that or I'm not allowed to say. I guess you have to be there to find out. But I do know that tentatively he could be booked in April. Just saying. Maybe, tentatively. Could happen.
Hell yeah.
So it's going to be a good time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Sean Moore going to be joining us in that live capacity next week. So that being said, Pop Smokes, of course, we'll have questions of our own that we'll be asking. They could be Prairie Pro Wrestling related or related to his career. But we're also encouraging all of you, whether you're watching this in a live capacity or on repeat, the play along afterwards, that you get into the chat live next week and ask your questions to Sean Moore. And if you haven't done so before, check out his work. It's all over YouTube, whether it be on our channel. We are going to show you some of it coming up here right away. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the opportunity to sit down with Sean Moore next week.
Oh, me too. I've admired this guy's work ever since I first saw it, and that's got to be going back 7 or 8 years. He was younger then, but he still, you could see the promise, you could see the potential. And then now, I mean, I watched some of his clips. He's playing in the big cities in the States, in Mexico, over in the UK. And he still graces us with his presence sometimes in old Saskatoon. That's why I feel privileged to watch his work, and that's why it's going to be a huge thrill to interview him. I've spoken to him briefly backstage at the shows, but I don't know the guy too well, so this is going to be fun. Let's get to know each other, and let's introduce him to the PPW Nation as a person, as a guy sitting down talking rather than just a wrestler in the ring.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. And I was trying to see if I could find it quick enough, but I just haven't found it yet. So I'll see if I can find it before the end there. But my first experience at an HIW show was in this live capacity. And one of the things they did is got me to go in the ring to meet some of the guys. And two of the first ones I got to meet were Sean Moore and his tag team partner at the time, Ace Riviera, who were the HIW Wildside Tag Team Champions of the time. And so I had both straps across my shoulders, two of them either side of me. So a good photo that I got with the two of those guys. And again, yeah, it was fantastic. Both great dudes that have both been in Prairie Pro Wrestling, and looking forward to, Sean Moore. This is going to be a great interview. I can't say enough good things about scoring this one.
Yeah, no, it's about time, kind of, because he's really one of the big players, even though he hasn't wrestled all that many shows for us, maybe 3 or 4 shows. Every time he comes, you can see that this guy's destined for greatness. And like I say, for anyone who's a fan of wrestling, it's an actual treat to watch his matches.
Yes, and so why don't we just get straight down to business here? We got Sean Moore taking on the smartest man in professional wrestling, Bucky McGraw. This one should be interesting. Let's let this camera roll. And just so you know, this song right here that I was using for a while for the intro to Prairie Pro Wrestling, and also the intro that you hear for Ring Respect Radio, comes from a band called On Lap. On Lap are a great band that use their music to give to small creators like ourselves to use in our videos. So, I mean, thankful to those guys for making some badass rock music that we could throw on our videos. Absolutely copyright free. No charging us for it, just that we shout them out. And that's what I'm doing right here. Shout out to the boys at On Lap for their great, fantastic work.
And that song always gets me pumped up, when we're just moments away from going live on the stream. And I've come to associate that song with getting into the groove of getting down to partying with the video bros.
That's right. We got all sorts of songs we've done, and we've had some classics over the years too. We had our Rednecks with White Faces song that we used for the longest time. I thought that one was quite classic as well too.
That's the best. Yeah. I love that.
So fitting, especially for the time for us as well too. But we had to rock it up a little bit, and that's why we got that song at the beginning of Ring Respect called "Freak Like Me." So it's a great tune as well too. You will notice a little bit of glitchiness within these videos. So here's the truth of the matter. I had a lot of equipment problems over the last little while with Prairie Pro Wrestling, and I've been doing my best to recover everything I could. I had a hard drive fail on me. I have had certain SD cards that erased footage on us at times. I have had things get lost, things go missing, and I have had to do my best to slice and dice to make sure that I could still put these matchups together, and have done okay with it for the most part. But you will notice in this one in particular a little bit of glitchiness, as this was one of the files that did get corrupted, and I wasn't able to 100% fully recover the video properly, but still tried my best to get it there for us.
Hey, Bob, we all appreciate what you do. You do a ton of hard work and lots of hours behind the scenes. I know I appreciate it. I know all the fans appreciate it, especially since we got rid of that one loudmouth fan who was always complaining about it. Now everyone is on the same page. We love it, and we appreciate all the good work you do.
Yeah, it's been a ride. I mean, it's tough at times. You sometimes get down on yourselves. I got in my own head mentally when I was losing some of the footage and some of the shit was going wrong. You get inside your own head and it's tough to get through. And I mean, I came out the other side and now it's rocking and rolling. We've also got a big project in store for the April show, Pops, folks. I've been working on a little bit of stuff behind the scenes. I know after the show, I'm going to give you a sneak preview of what I've been working on there. But all of the wrestlers in Prairie Pro Wrestling are going to have official walkout videos, just like you saw in that HIW video previously with Cody Rhodes and Michael Allen, Richard Clark. That is going to be happening for everybody in Prairie Pro Wrestling. So I do have a few of those on the go already. I've gotten the list of about 15 wrestlers that are planned to be there at the April showing. It is going to be one hell of a card. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to being able to see. I think they're already cool. The one I'm going to show you, I finished El Assassinos already, and El Assassinos looks really, really good.
Awesome. Oh, here we go. Here's the man of the hour that we're going to be talking to next week. Sean Moore. He comes out of the curtain with a whole lot of energy, and the fans feel that and react to it.
I couldn't be happier.
They sure do. And we didn't mention it too. Like Bucky McGraw there has been absolutely on fire in PPW ever starting the path of enlightenment, the re-education, re-educating the fans and the wrestlers and everything like that. He has been on an absolute tear in PPW and really a standout. I think his record speaks for itself. I think he's only picked up a couple of losses, but quite a lot of wins along his path.
Yeah, and from the days we used to call a million of his matches back in the day for the previous company, High Impact Wrestling, we were talking about before, he was a little spotty. He used to lose probably more matches than he won. But it was wild after that previous company shut down and PPW started. He came out with that new state of mind that he was on the golden path to enlightenment and re-education. He had his book. He had a whole different aura about him, and partly of just a confidence about him. And like you say, he's almost never lost a match since then.
And speaking of living legends of the professional Canadian wrestling scene, Chris Harris. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, my brunch buster brother, who unfortunately I have to abandon this Sunday. I'm sorry, Parrish. I love you, my man. And for the first time in a long ass time, I have to bow out on a Sunday because, again, like I said earlier, I have to tend to being a good husband that day because my loving, supporting wife has been very, very supportive of everything I do here with the live streams, with the video editing, with the PPW live shows, everything that she has been very supportive of. I've got to be able to have a day. So unfortunately, that means I'm not going to be on Busted Out, but I know you guys are going to have a kick-ass time because Parrish, whether he's solo or whether he has a special guest with him, will kick some serious ass this Sunday on Busted Out.
All right.
And again, Parrish, you're just joining us. We have Sean Moore joining us in a live capacity here on Ring Respect Radio next Thursday night. So that is why we are showing Sean Moore versus Bucky McGraw here from Prairie Pro Wrestling. And again, you're talking about technical ability here. Sean Moore is full of it. Exciting, explosive, knows how to handle himself. What a star.
Well, Bucky McGraw tried to take Sean Moore down with a single leg takedown, and Moore was having nothing of that. Turned him around, twisted him up like a pretzel, flipped him over, and that was the end of that. So as good of a kind of chain wrestler that Bucky McGraw is, he's really in there tough against Sean Moore because Moore's got so many moves. It's unbelievable and so much athleticism.
But he manages to reverse it right away, saving himself from
And you got Bucky well scouted. These guys know each other extremely well. Again, we're talking about back in the HIW days or just in Western Canada in general. These two have crossed paths many of times. And so they know each other extremely well. But again, neither one of them are quite the wrestler they were several years ago when they would have last crossed paths. Sean Moore, again, world traveled and everything like that. But Bucky McGraw, he talks about that intelligence, but that intelligence has grown. That ring awareness has grown, and he has found himself something that absolutely works in his favor.
What a drop kick, too, that sent McGraw all the way to the ropes. And he's pretty slow to get up from that, too.
What could Sean Moore possibly have in store here? Grabbing the head of Bucky McGraw. Looks like we're going to be treated to a nice suplex here. Man, pure strength.
Look at that strength. And yes,
no
ball saying Moore is such a talented and smart wrestler. Big fan of his. Yeah, how can you not be a fan of Sean Moore? I mean, just watching him would make me a fan of him, but then knowing him makes me that much more of a fan too. The guy is phenomenal in every sense of the word. Such a great human being in general, and general tough guy at the same time. Like, he's there smiling and he'll shake your hand, but then he steps inside that ring and he's all business, and he knows how to take care of business too.
You could see the difference in his body with his bodybuilding. You could see his
and this is always a delight. Look at that.
What a spot.
Yeah.
Straight down.
Perfect transition right. Love it. And he's got so many moves and such a huge move set that he can go through it at any time. And
again, it's the more we see, more pun intended, the more we see more at Prairie Pro Wrestling, again, the more the fans are going to continue to make that connection that PPW Nation are going to want to see him time and time again. And he's going to quickly climb that ladder. And again, we don't know how things are going to pan out for Sheik once he finds out his next number one contender after this Saturday. But I tell you, Sean Moore probably going to be eyeing up that gold one of these days too. He's got to be taking a look at Sheik and thinking, I could have a go at this guy.
Oh, and Sheik better watch his back if Sean Moore starts wrestling more regularly for PPW. He'd obviously be a shoe-in for the title picture and the number one contender spot. So he would be a huge threat to Sheik Akbar's title reign.
He really would, but man, a title reign it has been again too, with picking up victories over several of the members of the PPW roster. Now he's entangled in this big tag team feud that's coming up, but he has everything to really lose in this. Like, he not only needs for his team of himself and El Assassino to pick up the big win in the main event on Saturday night to avoid having one of his two opponents become the number one contender, but if they were to take a loss, he needs that loss to go to El Assassino. He needs Assassino to take the fall because, again, the stipulation states that one of the Kelly Bros has to pin Sheik Akbar Shabazz to earn themselves a number one contendership.
Well, and I'm not a heel commentator anymore, but I think that this stipulation of this match shows the PPW's management is favoring the Kelly brothers, as you call them, because this, like you say, this stipulation in this match really only benefits Cannonball Kelly and Colton Kelly. And Akbar Shabazz has everything to lose from this. And don't forget that El Assassino, for the great star that he is in PPW, has never been easy to get along with. And other people have tried to have tag team matches with El Assassino, and he sometimes doesn't play nicely with others, so to speak. So we have yet to see what this bond between Akbar Shabazz and Assassino will be.
Assassino doesn't even know how to play nice when I invite him onto our show, Papa Smokes.
And in the meantime, here Bucky McGraw
somehow he seems to play nice with you. I see him sporting that Papa shirt all the time. Like, I mean, I got to ask. Like, I mean, is there some insight you could give us? Like, is Assassino, does he even give a damn about Sheik's title run, and does he care whether Sheik ends up taking the fall? Is this going to be the same Assassino we know that could easily turn away and say, to hell with it, I don't need to be out here tonight?
Yeah, it definitely could. And as we've seen in the past, El Assassino really only cares about El Assassino. That's it. And if he's got an agenda in this tag match with teaming with Sheik Akbar Shabazz against the Kellys. Whatever his agenda is, it's to benefit him. It's to put himself into the title picture, and it's for himself to bring home the winner's purse.
As he greets the crowd there,
Either way, it's going to be a great night that night. And again, join us next Thursday night. We will let you guys know about what went down at that Prairie Pro show, but we're also going to be talking to that man in the ring right there, Sean Moore. So if you have questions for Sean Moore, anything you want to ask that guy right there, appropriate within reason questions. Looking your way, Mr. Chris Parrish. But yes, within reason questions that you guys have for Sean Moore, we will be posing those to him in a live capacity next Thursday night on Ring Respect Radio. Looking forward to it.
We don't want to see this one end with both men down and out. Too good for that, but Sean Moore now
all fired up, and he's throwing those hits in on Bucky McGraw.
Flying in with another clothesline, takes Bucky McGraw down.
Yeah, and if B. Carter, if you're still tuning in, that PPW ring looks quite a bit more secure than that HIW1 did for sure. You're trying our hand, Bobby. No one wants reason. I'm trying to be a businessman here, you know. Yeah, just keep it clean, people. Keep it clean. And then I go say things like fucking shit and things like that, and I screw it up for all of us. Beautiful maneuver there from Sean Moore. Goes for the cover. Oh, almost, but not enough.
Little bit of frustration on the face of Sean Moore here. I think he might have thought he had.
I was just about to say what I just said on commentary there too. I guess I thought the same thing at the same time. A little bit of frustration there.
There's that re-education book that got Bucky out of quite a few jams. He upgraded the book. Nobody has seen that yet on PPW's YouTube channel, but he did upgrade the book just recently, right before Christmas. I think Santa came early, brought Bucky a whole new book of education.
Well, I'm sure the other one was getting dented after all the heads into it and all. There's another one.
Such as our guest from next week, who ends up taking a L here to Bucky McGraw as a result of that re-education book.
Come on.
That dirty, dirty Bucky McGraw.
He had him, Munson. He had him.
We know that Sean Moore, if it wasn't for that book, would have been able to take this one. And we'll talk to him about that next week when he's here with us live on Ring Respect Radio. It's going to be a fun time, but man, Papa Smokes, it's been a great time, as always, doing these watch-alongs. Again, we're going to have Sean with us in a live capacity next week. But anything you guys want to see from us, if you want to see anything in particular, whether it be watch-alongs of certain wrestling, whether it be us digging into the vault and doing things like we did last week when we talked about the legendary Pofo family. Speaking of legends as well, too, Pop Smokes, let's just take this minute to say our love and respect to the family and friends of Jerry Jarrett, who we unfortunately just lost. The wonderful promoter and everything like that. Jerry Jarrett, very unfortunate news to hear about.
For sure. That's one of the big figures from pro wrestling in the 80s and 70s from a promotional standpoint. Of course, Jerry Jarrett was a wrestler back in his day too, but of course much more well known as an extremely creative booker. He was the guy that had that purchased the Memphis territory from Nick Goulas back in the 70s and turned it from a dead wrestling town into the most vibrant and crazy wrestling town all through the 80s. Him and Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee and Jimmy Hart and the whole crew were just absolutely printing money down there in Memphis. They couldn't accommodate all the people that wanted to go to their shows all the time, no matter how big the venue. And he was an innovator, and they had some silly stuff on that Memphis TV show. Dr. Frankenstein, you know, the monster coming out of the box. And there was some silliness to that stuff as well, but it was few and far between, and they used it sparingly, so it didn't turn the fans off completely. Some people still got a few chuckles out of it. Now material like that gets used 15 times per hour on the new wrestling shows, it's completely lost any effect that it might have had. But yet Jarrett understood the heat of the crowd. He understood the heels having to build up so much heat. The baby face is coming back. He understood the intricacies of booking so completely, and ran his promotion like the most successful wrestling promotion you can imagine, and just made Memphis into an unforgettable wrestling town.
Yeah, he really did, and it's very sad that we lost him. But it's the unfortunate thing about when people get older and stuff like that. Unfortunately, they're not around forever. But our respect and love goes out to the entire Jarrett family and friends and everything like that too. Pop Smokes.
Hey, also, I wanted to mention another old wrestler's passing from last week. I forgot to bring it up on the show last week, but we had been talking about job guys, and this was a well-known job guy from the AWA in the 70s and 80s, Kenny the Sodbuster J, and he was the perfect job guy. Never won a match ever, probably, but wrestled a lot of greats throughout his years. He knew his place on the card. He knew he didn't have the look or the skill or the presentation, so he was there to put the stars over, and he made a career out of it. He's famous all throughout Minnesota, and he just passed away at a ripe old age in his 80s or something. So, yeah, another tip of the hat out to a guy I remember from my youth, Kenny the Sodbuster J.
Yeah, that's again a big shout out to his family and all the love and respect to anybody that has lost anybody in general over the last little while. Again, we've been losing way too many as of late, so hopefully that stops, because we don't need to keep losing people like this. It's definitely a sad time, but we will probably get around to doing some shows based around them as well too. Definitely about Jerry Jarrett. I feel that one's definitely on the cards coming up here soon, Papa Smokes, especially with the legacy that he leaves behind as well too. But yeah, I think that pretty much is going to bring us to the end of this night of Ring Respect Radio. It has been an absolute blast. Before anybody tries to take off and leave, though, we're going to wrap up a couple things, but we're also going to go and throw a raid over. Looking at the screen, you know what? We're gonna raid our good friend Heel Kevin, because Heel Kevin, a good supporter of the show. Can't help but want to raid him when he's live. He's a fantastic dude. Joined myself and Chris Parrish in what we do as well too. And I also want to say too, because earlier in the program, while we were doing the watch along, our boy Basser69 gave another sub to our local establishment. 3 months consecutive, my man. You get the spin of the money sign here tonight, because we love when you guys give us subscriptions here at our local establishment. It really helps out all of us, all the great creators here, in what we're doing and producing as well too. But yeah, we're going to go on over to Hill Kevin's channel here right away momentarily. But Papa Smokes, where can the good folks find you?
Online, I hang out in Elon Musk's free speech wonderland known as Twitter. I'm at smokes_Papa. You can also find me on Twitch at Papa_Smokes_.
That's awesome. Reach out to Bob Smokes there. You can reach out to me at Real Bobby Munson on Twitter. You can reach out to us on Instagram at Video Bros SK. You can also check us out at Prairie Pro Wrestling, and everywhere on our local establishment. You'll see right there below, whether you want to be a guest or anything like that, or get involved with our local establishment, reach out to us. We're all over the socials, as well as check out our email. Email's a great time. And again, vote for us to keep Papa Smokes' show and tell show going. I absolutely love that. Mel saying a great job tonight, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Mel. We're glad that you were able to join us in this capacity, as we're going to send you guys over right now to Heel Kevin, and we're going to wrap things up. That is it for myself and Papa Smokes. Join us next Thursday night right here on the channel as we welcome our very special guest, Sean Moore. For myself and Papa Smokes, take care. See you next Thursday.